Hello everyone, my name is Cummins, and on behalf of the Limerick Writers Centre and the Midwest Regional Drugs and Alcohol Forum, I'd like to welcome you all here tonight to the presentation of graduation certificates for the participants in our Voices Creative Writing course. We'll have a number of speakers and then we'll present those certificates, and at that stage we'll have some more lovely music and hopefully a reading from one of our participants. I'd also like to remind you that there are copies of Voices from the Cave, the anthology of poems and stories by people affected by drug, alcohol and related issues. And this was the catalyst for the inauguration of the Voices Creative Writing Group. The books are free of charge, so please take one if you haven't got one already. And first up to say a few words on behalf of the Limerick Writers Centre, we have the Director of the Centre, Mr. Dominic Taylor.
Thanks, Tommy, and thanks to all of you for coming here tonight to celebrate the awarding of graduation certificates to members of the Voices Creative Writing course run by the Limerick Writers Centre in partnership with the Midwest Regional Drugs and Alcohol Forum. Now, I've spoken before about the work of the Limerick Writers Centre in its commitment to bringing ideas about books, literature and writing to as wide an audience as possible. Our watchword is always community and inclusiveness, and to bring reading and writing beyond the personal and private and into the social and public. Our core value is that literature is essential. We believe in the love of reading, in the art of writing, and in the power of the literary arts to transform individual lives and communities. But in an age of constant media distractions, the opportunity for the individual voice to be heard and listened to is fast disappearing. This is why we believe that those who wish to form a deeper understanding of self should be given the opportunity, through the creative act of writing, to explore and tell their own particular stories in poems, memoirs, short stories, diaries, novels. Writing provides the necessary means for us to go beyond difference and achieve a relational response with others. At the Limerick Writers Centre, we understand that to teach people effectively, we must sometimes undertake the often fearsome task of deconstructing our own and other people's stories. And at this point, I must express my admiration for our tutor, Carey, for his skill and willingness to teach the literacy tools necessary to the course participants if they are to survive the often inferno and purgatorio of writing about their lived experiences. The great German poet Rainier Marie Rilke said, "You must change your life." And I would say to the participants of the Voices course that you have probably taken one of the first steps on that journey. You've also taken a risk by starting out, for there is no guarantee that you will reach a safe harbour, and the cargo that you carry is highly fragile. But ultimately, there is no alternative. As Samuel Beckett reminds us in the last line of his novel, The Unnameable, "You must go on. I can't go on. I'll go on." And you will find that there are twists and about turns, disillusions and disappointments along the way. You will also be tempted by the trinket stalls and the side streets, and may be intoxicated by the view from mountains you have climbed. But don't linger. Don't let them deviate you. Keep going and keep to your task. And when you finally reach your destination, your safe harbour, you will find that there's nothing there. There's only what you brought with you in your heart. But that's enough for you to do what our great Limerick poet Desmond O'Grady exhorted us to do: to lead full lives and leave some record. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominic. And now for a few words from Rod Prendergast, the coordinator of the Midwest Regional Drugs and Alcohol.
Big shoes to step into after there with Dominic, so I don't have anything written. I just speak very quickly and just primarily to make a few thank yous. My own name is Gro Prendergast. I'm the coordinator of the Drugs and Alcohol Forum here in the Midwest. I suppose primarily our job is to look at identifying gaps in service provision in relation to substance misuse related issues. And really what that means is looking at various ways we can address the issues of substance misuse in the Midwest. And we do that via a variety of projects. We have treatment projects, youth intervention projects, family support projects, and then we also support a range of educational initiatives through the universities, etc. I suppose one of the areas that really has come of interest to us in recent times has been the creative writing piece now through the Voices anthology, and now obviously with this new creative writing course. So we're very excited to get behind it, because we're always looking at new and innovative ways of addressing the issues of substance misuse, which, as we know, is a very complex issue. And we've seen the benefits obviously from last year with the anthology, and the energy and the excitement it brought from a range of people from across the region of varying ages and backgrounds, and that was something that really excited us. So I'd like to take this opportunity to just particularly thank Dominic for all his time and effort and his energy and passion. You can see it in him every time I meet him. So I personally just want to say thank you for all your support. And also to Mick, Lacey, our chair. Mick has been a big champion of the drugs issue in the region for the last number of years. He's brought a wealth of experience and expertise from his lived experiences all over the world, not just Dublin. And we're blessed to have him as a chairperson. I say it to him regularly, but it's never lost on me how lucky we are. So I do want to thank Mick, because it was particularly Mick and Dominic that really brought this together. And I also want to thank you, the participants in particular, for your bravery at times, if I've been honest, and how powerful you've been when I've seen you come up and speak and read. It's not something I'd be able to do, so you've got my utmost admiration. And just to say well done on completing the course. A quick mention to the likes of Philomena and Rena and Anita and Anne-Marie, all our staff who help and support all the groups on the ground. So I just think it would be important to mention them. But hope you enjoy the rest of the night. And again, I just want to say well done to everyone, and thank you for all your support and time in running this initiative. Thanks, folks.
And now, before we present the certificates, course tutor Ron Carey will say a few words.
Well, really, I'm only here just to say how proud I am of the participants, and I feel like a father with their children sometimes, because it's great to see you coming through. The great thing about doing a creative writing course like this is that you start out knowing very little about participants or their abilities, and wind up being friends. It's been a pleasure to work with these talented people over the 5 weeks of the course in poetry and in prose. I've come to admire their strong-minded determination to make the best of their gifts. Whether they are writing from an emotional perspective or about just getting on with their lives, their honesty and sincerity would put many a professional writer to shame. And they have been willing, if a little worried, to try new things. And I believe they succeeded beyond their own expectations. There are many benefits in meeting and writing as a group. Writing is fundamentally a solitary business, but the support of others in similar circumstances lends itself to a camaraderie and a sense that one is never really alone. And that is very important for our well-being, and of course our writing, which has to come first above everything else. When we write, we take control of our own lives and direct the imaginary lives of those who appear in our stories and poems. For a while, we are outside ordinary existence and the pressure of daily life. By telling our story, we find our way forward. We never know the ending of any story until the last chapter. It can be sad or wonderful, fantastic or ordinary. But the more we invest in ourselves, the more options we have in how our story will be told. I would like to thank the Drug and Alcohol Forum and the HSC for advancing this groundbreaking enterprise. Thanks to the Limerick Writers Centre for all their support, and especially Dominic, without whose hard work and encouragement this course and many other worthwhile endeavours would never happen. Finally, I would like to congratulate all the group on their excellent work, and I really hope that they will continue with their writing into the future. Thank you.
Chairman of the Midwestern Regional Drug and Alcohol Forum, I'd like to congratulate the participants on completing their work, and I'd like to great thanks to Dominic for all the work, the thankless work he does in Limerick, and I've seen Dominic in many venues and at book launches and various presentations and so on throughout Limerick. I don't know where he gets the energy and the creativity to keep on going. He's a wonderful speaker as well, and also to Ron, who's the tutor on this course, and the energy and the that they brought, creativity they brought to this. It was quite by accident. Last year we had an awareness week, and at the awareness of drug and alcohol abuse and related problems in the Midwestern regional area, and we had a lot of we had a number of awareness. We have an awareness week every 2 years, but we decided to have a bit of entertainment at the end. Someone suggested we have some entertainment, a bit of music and so on. And then I went to a few of the poetry sessions around Limerick, and talking to Dominic, we decided to have a poetry competition. And the quality of entrance was absolutely fantastic. I was certainly amazed with it. And as a result of that, we with the forum, the Drug and Alcohol Forum, in partnership with the Limerick Writers Group, we brought this book together, which was a huge success, and it went right across the whole socio-economic strategy. There are people from all walks of life, not just talking about their addiction, but also talking about the recovery, and it was more informative. It created more awareness because we engaged with people's feelings rather than just thinking and information. When you give people information about drugs and the impact it has on people and on their families, the information doesn't really sit. But when you get people sharing feelings of the impact that drugs has on them and their loved ones and others, people remember feelings, they remember physically. So in that it was a huge success. And secondly, this writers group was absolutely brilliant. I'd also like to thank the staff of the forum, the Midwestern Regional Drug and Alcohol Forum, Philomena and Garrod, and all the wonderful work they do in the area. Salman Rushdie said, one can say what is poetry like? It can be romantic. He says a poet's work is to name the unnameable, to point out frauds, to take sides, to start arguments, shape the world and stop it going asleep. Salman Rushdie said that. Well, it could be argued that certainly the world is going asleep. I mean, situations that's happened. We've had 3 deaths on the street last week. The number of suicides we had since 2014, we've been 450. We've nearly 2 ODs a day from drug-related paraphernalia. And the homeless situation, we have 600,000 people on waiting lists waiting for operations in the hospitals. You have a homeless situation. You have gigantic waiting lists in the A&E. And Then we're told at another level that the situation is greatly improving, that the economy, is greatly improving. But all the cutbacks that were imposed on the public services during austerity, they're not being replaced. You have workers working without increments for the last 5 or 10 years, working tirelessly. But because there isn't, it doesn't mean, what are we going to do? It doesn't mean that we can't be creative, and we don't have to remain silent. There's wonderful people around, there's wonderful people in Limerick, there's wonderful people working for the public service, there's wonderful people in the creative field. And we need, and Voices is making statements about what's happening. It's not good enough that we have charities. What was it Bernard Shaw said, quoted by Gabriel Byrne during the week, that poverty is a crime, homelessness is a crime. It's not good enough. It's not acceptable. I mean, there's plenty of money to go around in this country. And then they had the big placards which they spent nearly $750,000 welfare cheats, and nothing about the bank cheaters, and so on. So we need to keep voicing in a constructive way this exploitation and injustice and inequality that exists, because it's real there. And unless we speak about it, I think poetry, songs and writing need to reflect all those issues. So having said that, I'd like to again thank you all for coming here, and the band and the people coming here, and it's all voluntary and as well. And I'd like to pass you back to your chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mick. And now we will proceed with the presentation of the certificates. Hear your name called out. If you please come up, and Ron will present you with your certificate. Brendan Hayes.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go.
And
a picture? Or is that the way to do it? That's the way to do it?
Yeah. Are we okay?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody look at me.
Yes, we are.
No blinking.
No blinking.
Refit.
Just double check that dinner then.
Okay, everybody smile.
All right.
Mary Murray.
Mary. Welcome, Mary.
You should be here. I want you with that. You are. Yeah. No, because without you with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
One more. No.
Are you all right?
I always take two. Because normally Dominic's got his eyes closed.
Yeah, well, I can do the same. We're dancing here. Yeah.
And well, Linda Louise Galvin.
Linda.
You're too cool for this, Lee. You're too cool.
Now watch this. Well, I hate to say it, Linda.
No, just tip it
I
back.
can't get her face in it. Too much shadow. No.
Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me.
It's good.
Kathleen Farley.
One more.
Liam Cummins.
Well done, Yvonne. Well done.
Get real chummy like.
Well done. Thanks very much.
Yvonne O'Callaghan.
Well done, Yvonne. Thank you. Well done. Well done.
One more.
Well done, Yvonne.
And Helen Simcox.
Well done, Helen. Congratulations.
One more.
Please don't take my sunshine.
So it's an honour to be asked on behalf of all the group to just do one small piece. It's a poem that I submitted for the anthology, and it's actually called "Chalk This Down by the River," and it goes like this: I will let my knuckles bleed against the stone, and with this tube of chalk I will atone, and then stop masking the stench of death with my forking tongue and my lover's breath. Because that river, it's a dark green riddle. Its barrage is of cold and rushing tides, raw and violet with slippery blood, where world-weary swans crash onto the bridge's sides. Yeah, that river, it's a dark green riddle, and where on black stones and slithery muds, useless things, they remain unmoved. Shopping trolleys, broken dolls, smiling stupidly at the torrent of clouds. Near a bicycle frame, a doll's head lies, smiling forever through sky blue eyes. Yeah, that river is a dark green riddle, a whale of dark and merciless water. It's a deluge through the locks of time, surging past the castle's walls, where a mother waits for her daughter. I will let my knuckles bleed against the stone, and with the stub of crumbling chalk atone for unveiling the stench of death with my forking tongue and lover's breath. Thank you.
Musicians.
Please don't take my sunshine.